Hey everyone, so let's talk about something that's become almost like a religious debate in the nutrition world: animal protein versus plant protein. And look, I'm not here to start fights in the comments, but we need to look at what the actual science says, because the answer might surprise you. For years, we've been told that plant protein is the healthier choice, right? Better for your heart, better for the planet. And there's truth to that. But when you dig into the research, especially the newer studies, things get way more complicated. So let's break this down. The muscle question. Here's where things get really interesting. Your muscles don't just care about getting protein. They care about getting the right amino acids at the right time. And there's this one amino acid, called leucine, that basically acts like a key that unlocks your muscle-building machinery. Leucine is particularly important because it activates something called the mTOR signaling pathway, which is essentially your body's master switch for muscle protein synthesis. Think of it like this. Leucine is the signal that tells your muscles, hey, we've got building materials here, let's grow. Now here's the catch. Animal proteins typically provide around 2.5 to 3 grams of leucine per serving, which is the amount needed to trigger muscle protein synthesis. Plant proteins often require a much higher volume to reach that same threshold. So yeah, you can get there with plants, but you'd need to eat significantly more. A systematic review looked at this exact question, and here's what they found. While protein source didn't drastically affect overall lean mass changes, animal protein did result in statistically significant gains in percent lean mass, especially among younger adults under 50 years old. The researchers were careful to note the clinical significance is still being debated, but the difference was there. But what about your heart? Okay, so animal protein might have an edge for muscle building. But surely plant protein wins for heart health, right? Well, yes, but with important context. A massive Harvard study that just came out tracked nearly 203,000 people over 30 years. They found that people consuming the highest ratio of plant to animal protein had a 19% lower risk of cardiovascular disease and a 27% lower risk of coronary heart disease. That's significant. But here's the nuance. The researchers noted these risk reductions were primarily driven by the replacement of red and processed meats with plant proteins. So it's not necessarily that animal protein is bad. It's that certain types of animal protein, specifically processed and red meat, are problematic. Fish, poultry, and eggs weren't shown to have the same negative effects. The study also found something fascinating. The combination of consuming more plant protein and higher protein intake overall provided the most heart health benefits. So it's not about going all or nothing, it's about the ratio and the total amount. The digestibility factor. Here's something most people don't talk about. Your body doesn't absorb all proteins equally. Scientists use something called the PD-CKAS score to measure this. It stands for Protein Digestibility Corrected Amino Acid Score. Most animal-based protein sources like milk, whey, eggs, and beef score at, or very near, the perfect score of 1.0, making them complete protein sources for supporting essential amino acid requirements. Plant proteins? With the exception of some soy protein isolates, most plant-based proteins score below 100%, with wheat gluten scoring as low as 25%. This lower score comes from two things: they're harder to digest, and they're missing or low in certain essential amino acids. Animal-based proteins from meat, fish, and dairy are generally highly digestible, with a high proportion of their amino acids absorbed by the body, while plant-based proteins often contain anti-nutritional factors and complex structures that reduce their digestibility. Does this mean plant protein is bad? Absolutely not. It just means you might need to eat more of it to get the same effect. And for most people eating a varied diet, that's totally manageable. The real-world balance. So here's where we land. Could animal protein actually be healthier? In some specific contexts, like if you're trying to build muscle efficiently, or if you're an older adult at risk of muscle loss, yeah, animal protein has distinct advantages. It's more bioavailable, it has more leucine, and gram for gram, it's more efficient at stimulating muscle protein synthesis. But for cardiovascular health, the average American eats a 1 to 3 plant to animal protein ratio, and research suggests a ratio of at least 1 to 2 is much more effective in preventing cardiovascular disease. So most of us should be eating more plant protein. Not less animal protein necessarily, but shifting that balance. The bottom line. Here's my take after looking at all this research. The question isn't really which is healthier, because that depends entirely on what health outcomes you're measuring. Animal protein is objectively superior for muscle building and protein efficiency. Plant protein is better for your heart and longevity, especially when it replaces processed and red meat. The smartest approach? Don't go to extremes. Get quality protein from both sources. Focus on fish, poultry, and eggs from animals. Load up on legumes, nuts, and whole grains from plants. And maybe think twice before making that third serving of bacon this week. The data suggests that a mixed approach, higher total protein intake with a better balance tilted toward plant sources gives you the muscle-building benefits while protecting your cardiovascular system. And honestly, that feels right. Our ancestors didn't eat exclusively plant or exclusively animal protein. They ate what was available, and that variety is probably what our bodies evolved to handle best. So there you have it. Animal protein isn't the villain, and plant protein isn't perfect. Like most things in nutrition, the answer is nuanced. And the best diet is probably the one that includes a bit of everything, chosen wisely. What's your protein strategy? Drop a comment and let me know. And if you found this helpful, hit that like button. It really does help the channel. See you in the next one.